Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Thursday, September 25th edition of the Daily Pulse. I'm your host, Teddy Panos, coming here from the WellPoint Studios here in beautiful downtown Lowell. It is a rainy Thursday morning. Can't complain. We've had a hell of a stretch here in September, so a little rain isn't going to do us all that much harm, though if you have outdoor activities planned, I guess over the next few days, well, you're not going to be a happy camper other than maybe on Saturday. But hey, we got lots of good stuff happening here in the WellPoint Studios. Don't have to worry about rain unless the ceiling opens up on me here. But as I mentioned, it was a theatrical Thursday edition of the Daily Pulse. And as you might have seen in this opening shot of our podcast, I've joined in studio by my favorite guest, the only one who can stomach me, the empty chair. So that means you get to hear from me today on the Daily Pulse. The good news is this one will be a short show. I promise. It will be quick, which will hopefully make it a little bit less painful for you, but it won't be any less informational because we got a lot of stuff we want to hit on, some stuff that you've seen on InsideLowell.com. Want to draw attention to it, offer some thoughts on some of that. And then we'll send you on your merry way until tomorrow's Daily Pulse live show, which will also preview. First, let's thank our Daily Pulse sponsors. We've told you about Ray Booten, Real Estate Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both states as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, get in touch with Ray Booten today. And you can find him easily enough online at realestaterayBooten.com. Thanks as well to our friends at WellPoint. WellPoint is the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, WellPoint. Thank our other sponsors in just a few seconds, but let's get rolling here on this theatrical Thursday edition of the Daily Pulse. I want to start by addressing an article we wrote last night. I wrote it, answering the question of where was the mayor? A lot of folks asking that question, texting me on Tuesday night and all throughout the day yesterday. Those who hadn't received the response from me and were just kind of catching up to the fact that a rather, well, I don't want to call it a controversial meeting, but it had the potential to be. And there were some big issues there. And it included a little bit of a parliamentary disagreement, maybe a gaffe, for lack of a better term. Folks wondering where the mayor was. Well, I wondered the same thing. I teasingly sent him a text saying, hey, where are you? Missing out on a big meeting like this. And the mayor said to me, I'm in Toronto. We've got Front Runner City meetings, and I'm up here with Catherine Moses, the city sustainability director, which explained her absence from the council chambers and the discussion about the Markley Group and their proposal to expand their backup fuel, their diesel capacity, backup generators, I should say, which has become an environmental issue as well. Followed up yesterday with the mayor, just, hey, how'd it go? Because he had said to me on Tuesday night, it was a really good day today, he said, for the city of Lowell. So there is a story on InsideLowell.com. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But it talks a little bit about where the mayor was and what he was doing. I do want to read, though, a couple of things that came about from his days there, which were Tuesday and Wednesday. Mayor also wanted me to point out that he paid his own way for this trip. Catherine Moses' trip was paid for by the city. It was actually on the agenda that night. Many of us, most of us missed it because all the focus was on safe injection sites and the Markley Group. So we may have missed that there was a travel request for Catherine Moses, the city sustainability director, to head up to Toronto. Those front-runner city discussions were centered a lot on, they weren't centered on, they involved Lowell, but there was also talk about AI, artificial intelligence, and energy, which artificial intelligence, if you've been following the Daily Pulse or if you've been following news headlines and what's going on in the world around you, AI is completely going to reshape the way we consume and produce energy, not just in America, but on the rest of the planet. And I have predicted that it's going to be the end of the environmental movement as they get ditched because they need to meet the energy demands, or everyone's going to just have to accept nuclear power as the future, which I think it is the future anyway. But in the short term, you're going to need, fuels that burn to power AI, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop it. But anyway, I digress. So on the first day of that Frontrunner City Urban Economy Forum discussions with the mayor and Catherine Moses and other folks, established Lowell's long-term vision. I'm reading directly here from some notes from the meeting that the mayor was kind enough to provide to me. Established Lowell's, and by the way, this came from the UEF people, their summary of the meeting, which you can go see online as well. They have Instagram and Twitter accounts, Urban Economy Forum, Facebook as well. The first day established Lowell's long-term vision under the Frontrunner City framework, confirmed transformation pillars, advanced financing pathways, and endorsed innovation as a driver of inclusive renewal and resilience. Lot of academics speak there, right? So, but that's how they summarized day one. Day two is what caught my attention. This is how the UEF people summarized day two of their meetings, which heavily focused on Lowell and a review of potential projects with Mayor Rourke and Catherine Moses. Here's their summary. The second day secured global partnerships, institutional structures, and financing commitments, culminating in the joint adoption of Lowell's Urban Transformation Roadmap as a guiding framework for implementation. Let me repeat that. The day secured global partners. They now know who these global partners are. Institutional structures. They now know what institutions are going to be a part of this and whether any new ones need to be formed. We're going to find that out. And financing commitments. Secured financing commitments. In other words, the financing is in place for potential projects. People have committed to the financing. They like projects that the city proposed and are going to finance them. Now, I asked, naturally, I see this and I get all excited. I reach out to the mayor. I ask him, hey, what do we know? What projects, what not? Gonna have to wait for that to be unveiled, the mayor told me, and it could very likely be unveiled at Urban Economy Forum number 7, UEF 7, which takes place October, I think it's the 13th or 14th. It's Columbus Day week in Toronto, Canada. You'll recall UEF 6, Urban Economy Forum 6, was where Mayor Rourke was last September and kind of made the connections that got this train rolling, the ball steamrolling down the hill here into Lowell becoming the first frontrunner city in the United States of America. But for those wondering where the mayor was and why he wasn't at the meeting, and I was one of them, he was taking part in meetings that secured the global partnerships, institutional structures, and most importantly, the financial commitments culminating in the joint adoption of Lowell's Urban Transformation Roadmap. Good stuff indeed for the city of Lowell. And I will give the mayor an excused absence, especially in light of the fact that there was some kind of a parliamentary issue there. And you remember the safe injection site discussion that we kept previewing and talking about? So when the motion finally came up, some speakers came up, as was expected, and then it's the time for the city councilors to speak. Makers of the motion, Corey Robinson and Eric Gitchier. Councilors Robinson and Gitchier. Councilor Robinson opened. The motion was made. It was seconded. Councilor Robinson opened by making an address and speaking out on why he's against him. Then Councilor Gitchier was recognized. His words were relegated to, I want to call for a roll call vote on the issue, to which a couple of the mayor said, okay, roll call vote. The vice mayor, I should say, Paul Ratayem, said, okay, let's roll call vote. And suddenly you started to hear some scrambling behind the scenes. And in particular, the voice of Counselor Wayne Jeunesse saying, wait a minute, we're not going to speak on this? I want to say a few things about it. And there was, forgive me if I get it wrong, but between Counselor 𝐏𝐤𝐜 or Counselor Robinson, I'm pretty sure it was Counselor 𝐏𝐤𝐜 saying, no, there's a motion to have a roll call on the floor, at which point the roll call was taken, whether you want to vote yes or no on banning safe injection sites in the city. The vote was 9-1 yes to ban them. Again, Mayor Rourke was away. The no vote was Councillor 𝐓𝐡𝐞𝐚. The yes votes were all the other councillors, including Councillor Jeunesse, who was, you could hear when it came his turn to vote, it was kind of an exasperated yes. It was a pause and an exasperated yes. And so they read the results, 9-4 and 1 against. And then Vice Mayor Yem said, okay, Councillor Jeunesse, would you like to speak on the issue? And to which point Councillor Jeunesse said, what's the point now? So I talked to a couple of people and I was getting different results, different answers about how Robert's Rules of Orders handle this. Can you have a roll call vote without any discussion? And I was told, well, the roll call vote preempts any discussion. Other people said to me, no. The roll call vote the motion to call roll has to get voted on and approved by a majority of the councillors. So if they said, well, we want to go to the roll call and 6 councillors vote yes, let's skip discussion and go right to the roll call, which happens sometimes when there's a million public speakers there and you get these parliamentary proceedings. I want to move the motion, blah, blah, all this different parliamentary stuff. This political mumbo jumbo that quite frankly ticks people off when we see it in government, and it should, because I don't think it's good government. Anyway, I was told that the mayor should have called a roll on whether to end discussion and go to the roll call vote on the issue, at which point, if you got 6 yays, then you end discussion and vote. If you get 6 nays, then you have the full discussion, as normally takes place. I did some Google searching, trying to find some answers. Best I could come up with was, it was an AI summary of Robert's Rules of Order and how they address that. But it appears the people who told me that, yeah, they kind of messed that up, were correct. Look, in the grand scheme of things, the motion passed 9-1. Even Councillor Jeunesse, who wanted to speak on it, voted yes. So it wasn't going to affect the vote. And in full disclosure, I 100% agree with Councillors Robinson and Councillor 𝐏𝐤𝐜 on the motion to ban safe injection sites. Well, I agree 110%. If you've watched any of the Daily Pulses from earlier in the week or read my, read some of my stuff, you know I'm not going to regurgitate that. But the way that went down Tuesday night was a disservice to the people of Lowell and to the city of Lowell government. If normal procedure says you make a motion, the makers of the motion speak on the motion, the public has a chance to weigh in, and then all the councilors have a chance to weigh in after the public has weighed in, then that's how this vote should have been handled. That was not some rinky-dink, willy-nilly issue where, you start bundling stuff and move it along and expedite the process just to get the hell out of there. No, this was a motion that many speakers showed up on, many councilors wanted to speak on. I would love to know why Councillor Noon voted no. I'd like to know why the other 9 voted yes. Is it because they agree with me or because they have other things that they brought in? Did they agree with what Councillor Robinson said in his discussion about it? What is the reasoning behind it? That's what government is for, discussion, debate. And when you engage in parliamentary procedures to stifle that, that's not good government. I think it was a mistake. I think Vice Mayor Yem made a mistake in how he proceeded with that. We'll see if others agree or not on that. If it becomes an issue in future meetings? Will other people try these parliamentary procedures as you know, kind of payback for the way it went down? Who knows? I have no information on that. But I know if I was sitting on that council floor and I wanted to speak on that issue, I'd be pretty ticked that I didn't get a chance to speak on that issue as others did. Councilor Corey Robinson got to speak on the issue. And again, I agree 100% with him. And I'm willing to bet that Councilor 𝐓𝐡𝐞𝐚𝐥 words would have echoed Councilor Robinson's. He probably would have had even more insight into why he was voting against it that I would have likely agreed with. Or voting against safe injection sites, I should say, but voting in favor for the ban. But I want to hear the ideas. When you exchange ideas, when you have discussions, when you have political discourse and debate, you have a better system. You have a better democracy. You have better government. Parliamentary tricks and back and forths, that's not serving anybody. We got to do better on that Lowell City Council floor. And again, I wholeheartedly agree with Councilor 𝐓𝐡𝐞𝐚𝐥 and Councilor Robinson on the motion. But how that discussion went down, have to disagree with. Follow up on safe injection sites. Ironically enough, on Tuesday, the Boston City Council popped in with, by the way, I misidentified him as Councilor Ray Flynn. Might have even called him Ray Flynn Jr. at one point. It was Councilor Ed Flynn, Boston City Councilor Ed Flynn, made a motion for the Boston City Council to also adopt an ordinance banning safe injection sites within the city of Boston, which dovetailed beautifully with the motion here in Lowell. But whereas the Lowell City Council overwhelmingly by a 9-1 vote, and Mayor Rourke did tell me that he would have been a no vote, that he would have been a yes vote to ban them, a no vote on safe injection sites themselves. So it would have been a 10-1 vote in Lowell that ended up formally recorded as a 9-1 vote. Not so much in Boston. The Boston City Council shot down Councilor Flynn's motion and said, no, we're not going to ban safe injection sites in the city of Boston. Somebody call Gerard Butler, please. Boston has fallen. Remember those movies, right? London has fallen. Well, all these other places have fallen. The White House has fallen. Oh, Boston has fallen as well. Boston City Council going full woke, which, by the way, might be good news for Lowell and those who don't want safe injection sites in Lowell. Open them up in Boston. Open them up. They're good. Put them around Mass and Cass. Put a roof over Mass and Cass. Send everybody back there. All those people who, when they shut down Mass and Cass and the Methadone Mile, hopped on the train from Boston and came here to Lowell to get their goodies. Ship them back. Here you go. Give them multiple safe injection sites. Open them up in Boston, everywhere. Put them on Washington Street. Put them on State Street. Put them on Storrow Drive. Put them everywhere. Let Boston have them all. Go. The Boston City Council wants them. I'm going to bet Mayor Michelle Wu ain't going to get in the way of them. Go. Open 1 million of them in Boston. They've got public transportation. They have subways. They have everything in Boston. They got a train going into it. Hell, they have bike lanes for whatnot. We have to put a couple in Cambridge as well because they got a good bike lane system there as well. Move them all there. Get them the hell out of Lowell. Get them the hell out of Lawrence. Get them the hell out of Nashua. Get everything the hell out. Let's move. Let's make Boston the center of harm reduction in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and leave the rest of the communities alone. Boston has fallen. Maybe this will help save Lowell. You're tuned into the Daily Pulse, the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Thursday, September 25th edition of the Daily Pulse. I want to thank our sponsors, Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Mass and New Hampshire. You can find him online, realestaterayBooten.com. Thanks as well to our friends at WellPoint. WellPoint is the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. Thank you as well to Washington Savings Bank, banking that feels like home. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, TMI Cares, managing and developing their own properties for over 30 years, experience the quality, the care, and the value of making TMI the choice for your home. Thank you as well to the Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life in our communities through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to generations of families, over 100 years, since 1925 in Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire. And last but certainly not least, our friends at Francis E. Provencher Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell has counted on to insure its most valuable assets since 1982. Quick programming note, tomorrow, 10 a.m., you know our new dealio on the Daily Pulse on Fridays. It's the Daily Pulse Live, 10 a.m. You can watch it on InsideLowell.com or our YouTube channel. We've got the Pod Squad, Mike Bacigalupo, Michaela Hondras McCarthy, a.k.a. Batch and the Hyphen. They'll be joining us, as will Lindsay, the fabulous Lindsay, our latest podcast star here. She'll be delivering the feedback, which you folks are invited to send on in. Let me call up that graphic here if I can. On the Shaw Farm Pulse line. That's right. You can just text in 978-PULSE-IN. That's 978-785-7346. Send us your feedback during the show, before the show, whatnot. We'll share it live on the air as well. So remember, tomorrow, 10 a.m. sharp, and every Friday, the Daily Pulse is live here on InsideLowell.com and on our YouTube channel. All right. Wrapping up today's show, because I told you, I promised you I'd be quick, and I swear I will be, was another article yesterday on InsideLowell.com, and it pertains to Tuesday night's Lowell City Council meeting and the discussion regarding the Markley Group, where a few neighbors came out, spoke up in opposition of their plans to expand their backup generator diesel fuel capacity. A lot of environmental people showed up as well and chimed in, and it was basically the prevailing impression left after that discussion, despite the best efforts of Markley's representative there, former Lowell City Councilor Billy Martin, the attorney who's representing them in their dealings with the city of Lowell. The impression was that the Markley Group is a horrible neighbor. They're polluting the neighborhood. They're making people sick. We didn't hear they're killing people, but you know, once the Democratic Party catches on to that, you'll hear that. They also weren't called Nazis and fascists, so I guess that's good when the environmental people are against it. But the impression was that the Markley Group is a horrible neighbor, and certain councilors kind of gave that impression. Councilor Eric Gitcher basically said, I don't even know why we're going to subcommittee. I'm voting no. I don't need to listen to any more. I'm voting no. Councilor Kim Scott, who represents that district, she was a no vote on the 2 backup generators over the summer that were up. I'm going to guess she's going to be a no on the next 16 that they're hoping to fuel right now. But other councilors expressed reservations, including, again, Councilor Wayne Jeunesse, who said, I've got a lot of questions that I want to ask, so I'm in favor. They voted to send it to a joint subcommittee, the neighborhood subcommittee and environmental subcommittee. So great, more discussion. That's a good thing. Hopefully no parliamentary tricks take place to stifle said discussion, but this is a good thing. And they scheduled that joint subcommittee meeting for September 30th. So they're not effing around. Next Tuesday night, they're still, now the city council is still in their summer schedule for one more week before they resume to every Tuesday meetings in October and beyond. But it was an open night on the council floor. Smart move. Schedule it for Tuesday, September 30th. All the councilors are normally there anyway. They don't have to rush it from 5:30 to 6:30. They can do it they can make it a nice lengthy meeting to, again, allow for lengthy discourse, questions and answers. That's what democracy, that's what political debate is about, and it should be. But as Councilor Jeunesse said, I've got a bunch of questions. He said he let out that the city council had received an email earlier that day from Attorney Martin and the Markley Group. It was a memorandum that outlined steps that Markley has taken to mitigate some of the concerns that were being expressed on the council floor about the environment, about pollution, etc., noise, sound, all this stuff. And which was great, except it never was really addressed at the council meeting. But now it didn't need to, because again, they're going to go to the subcommittee and they're going to go elsewhere afterwards. It still has to come back for a full vote of the council. But I was curious. I'm like, hey, what's in this? So I reached out to Attorney Martin on Tuesday night while the meeting was still going on and said, hey, is it possible to send that memorandum to us here at Inside Lowell? Sure enough, yesterday, Attorney Martin did. It's a 3-page memorandum when you print it. And I got it. And by the way, we have published this in its entirety, again, on InsideLowell.com. The headline of the story is Markley Group Responds to Concerns. And it's there in its entirety. You can read it. Don't take my words for it. Don't take the words of any of the speakers Tuesday night or any of your neighbors or people who are talking to you now. This is Markley Group in their own words talking about what they did. Take it for what it's worth. Do you believe them? Do you not believe them? Do you think it's enough? Do you think it's not enough? Make your own judgment. I'm making mine. I've kind of made mine, but I'm open to the discussion and the debate. But there are a couple of things that I did want to talk about. The first is, this is being somewhat portrayed as a neighborhood issue, and the neighborhood is up in arms. I'm not seeing that yet. I'm not thoroughly convinced of that yet. Now, a neighborhood issue, ADUs was a neighborhood issue, right? You saw certain neighborhoods come together, including the granddaddy of them all, Belvedere. And when it looked like that motion was going to pass to allow ADUs in the city, they galvanized. They met on a Saturday morning. They had hundreds of people at a meeting. And before you know it, 3 city councilors flipped their votes from supporting ADUs to against them. That was a neighborhood issue. Lowell High School moving to Colley Stadium in 2017. That was a neighborhood issue. That was a neighborhood galvanized. That was an 80-20 issue where 80% of that neighborhood said, no, 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 no. Keep the school where it is. We don't want it in our neighborhood. That's a neighborhood issue. I'm not sure the Markley Group issue falls here, and I'll tell you why, because at the June meeting, when the Markley Group had some speakers other than Attorney Martin, there were a bunch of people who identified themselves as neighbors of the development, around the development. They identified themselves as South Lowell residents, and they said they were in favor of it. They weren't as passionate as the anti-folks are, but are the people in favor ever as passionate as the anti-folks are? Usually not, but I'm not sure yet. I'm not saying the issue has been decided. The issue is, the neighborhood can, decide it on their own if they get say over certain things, which is kind of what I want to talk about. To me, the biggest opposition to this, and you saw it, there were more people who spoke not from the neighborhood, but on the environmental issues. People who live elsewhere in Lowell. My good friend, the hyphen, Michaela Hondas McCarthy, she lives in the Highlands. Sustainability is a big thing for her. The environment is a big issue for her. She wrote a nice lengthy piece along with William Lefebvre on InsideLowell.com. You can read that, talking about their concerns, outlining some steps. They weren't no, never, never, not a chance. I'm going back to my high school basketball cheers, by the way. But they did outline it in pretty good detail what the concerns were from an environmental standpoint. But still, that's an environmental discussion, which whenever you have one of these, they come from all over. And they did, from all over Lowell. Hell, somebody came from Boston. I forget the name of the organization, but it's one of these green environmental organizations. She showed up and talked as well. So I want to be careful in framing this as a neighborhood issue, because I'm not sure yet where the neighborhood is. I think it's more of an environmental issue than a neighborhood issue. It's a neighborhood issue for the surrounding people there who are concerned about the noise, the pollution, etc. I got it. How much are they in the majority? That remains to be seen. But anyway, I digress. So the Markley Group, and again, I'm not going to read you the full memorandum. It's published in its entirety, InsideLowell.com. The story is titled, Markley Group Addresses Concerns. But they talked about this damaged fence that is an issue. They've mentioned repairing them. 2 of them have been repaired. There's a third one that is intact and secure, they say. The neighbors say it's not intact and secure. The Markley Group says it is. Who makes the ultimate call on that? I would guess the city's building inspectors, the city's inspectional services department. If it's okay for the city's inspectional services department, if it's okay for the state building department, And also ditto on these environmental things. If it's okay with the Department of Environmental Protection, we have to either trust in our government or overthrow it. Get new people in there that you don't trust. Now, good luck in Massachusetts, because last time I checked, the Democratic Party in Massachusetts has controlled every facet of government. Yeah, Charlie Baker was governor, but let's be honest. He danced to the song the Senate president and the House Speaker played for him. But in terms of environmental, Massachusetts is well ahead of most of the country, except maybe California and New York, in terms of their environmental requirements. So if the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection is telling you Markley's in compliance, I'll trust it, because their ideological bent is to go after people who aren't in environmental compliance. But they're saying it's okay. Again, all this stuff remains to be seen. There was talk about noise. Again, the Markley Group addresses this, says the ambient sound, or the sound decibel levels, are well within the Mass DEP threshold. So the DEP says, yeah, they're not noise polluting. Again, the neighbors are hearing it. Any noise, if you live right next door, is an issue. But if it's within the state guidelines, then fight to change the guidelines. Or, I don't know, there's some quiet houses in Pepperell or Dunstable. I know it's not easy for everyone to get up and move, but you live in a city of 120,000 people. You live in a neighborhood where this was zoned as industrial and was industrial, with the Prince Spaghetti Factory, which, by the way, had its own share of pollution issues. But we digress. You know, there's going to be some level, anytime you develop something in a neighborhood, whether it's a data center, a spaghetti factory, a gas station, a sub shop, anything you do in a neighborhood is going to raise neighbor concerns. I'm not surprised about this. I'm still trying to gauge the full extent of it. But there was talk about a dirt pile that is an eyesore. It's blowing dust when it's windy. Markley Group says, listen, it's essential to the construction over the next several months, but we expect the majority will be cleared by the end of the calendar year. That was their response. They also said, working with the health department, they've installed sprinklers that will water this dirt pile every day to mitigate how much blows around during a windstorm. So people who say they're doing nothing, they're doing something. Is it enough? Again, you decide. The Markley Group highlighted River Meadow Brook. After years of contamination and incidents of dumping, Markley began conducting 2 full-scale cleanups of River Meadow Brook each year to ensure the brook is free of litter. So twice a year, they clean this brook. They said within the last month, we did a cleanup, removed bicycles, mattresses, and other debris from the brook. Look around your canals in Lowell, anywhere in Lowell. Look into them. Look on the sides of them. When the water is low, look down. Look at the Merrimack when the water is low. What do you see? Debris. You see cars in the Merrimack from time to time. Again, they say they're doing 2 environmental cleanups a year. They're removing things out of the water. Was anybody removing this stuff out of the water? Did the illegal dumping start when Markley Group moved in a decade ago? Or was the illegal dumping taking place for generations? Who was cleaning it up? The Markley Group is cleaning it up. So again, this narrative of they're doing nothing, well, there's something they're doing. Is it enough or not? Decide. They're coordinating with the Sustainability Department, the aforementioned Catherine Moses, to make sure that they're meeting the goals going forward. The green energy thing. Markley directly addressed this in their memorandum. They say they're investing in solar power. There was talk, people wanted them to put solar panels on the roof. They're saying we're investing. We've begun executing contracts to invest in solar power, or began in 2021, and we currently have 10 solar projects in development that will produce 40 megawatts of renewable solar power for the regional supply. So they're doing something. They say they've been doing something since 2021. Is it enough? Is it moving fast enough? Up to you. This point was interesting. Markley offsets their energy usage. Markley's power usage is used to cool what the data center's customers use. Markley purchases certified Green E renewable energy certificates, known as RECs, renewable energy certificates, to offset the electricity used to cool the customer's usage. By this measure, again, this is the RECs, the green renewable energy certificates, and offsetting their customers' usage. It says, by this measure, Markley's energy usage is considered 98% from renewable resources. And I believe the threshold is 60% of their energy that they use, period, not counting these renewable energy certificates, is from green sources. It goes on to say Markley offers its customers the ability to do the same. So, are they doing nothing to offset their carbon footprint that they're creating? I don't know. Sounds like a something to me. If by this measure, their energy usage is considered 98% from renewable resources, and the state requirement is 60% of their energy be renewable, and they're meeting that, if the state is okay with it, do we really have that much of an environmental nightmare? A Superfund site, as it was labeled on the council floor, and by Ryan Gilday, the Lowell citizen. He wrote a thing, jokingly crossing out the word Superfund site and using other language. But is this a Superfund site? Or is this the future? Look, the Markley Group says they're taking steps. They're meeting with the Lowell Wastewater Regional utility, Aaron Fox, to address flooding and drainage issues in the neighborhood. They're talking about future plans on the site. All of this is in the memorandum. You can go there and read it. To the neighbors who are pissed off at the Markley Group, won't make a lick of difference. They'll print that memorandum out, look at it, and go just like that. And I guess I can't blame them. It's their houses there. They live there. Do enough of their neighbors feel the same way? Is that nuisance? Is that level of quote-unquote pollution, noise, whatever? Is that enough to kill the proposal to move the Markley Group and, to a large degree, the city of Lowell and the presence of artificial intelligence, AI infrastructure in our city, in our region? Is it enough to end it where it is right now and say, no more? Personally, I don't think so. Even if it's a bigger neighborhood issue than I'm kind of guessing it is right now, it's an industrial zone. You got to have some industry in your city. Otherwise, you end up like Drake, okay? Which has 95% of its tax base borne by the residents, by residential property owners. And it might be 7 or 8% that's borne by industry and commercial, and 92, 93% that's borne by the residents. But it's not a lot. You want to move forward. You want to be a 21st century community, which Lowell wants to be. You want to have link projects. You want to have front-runner city projects. You want to have all this fun stuff. Guess what? AI and energy usage is part of it. And quite frankly, I don't think you're going to be able to stop it. Find ways to mitigate it, find ways to live in harmony. 100%, I got your back. But what I saw Tuesday night and what I saw in June and July when this discussion was heating up was an awful lot of, well, I'll say it, NIMBY. Not in my backyard. And again, if it is in your literally in your backyard, I can understand it. You've got to make a choice. You have to make a choice. I don't think you're going to be able to stop progress. If the Mass DEP says that this is okay, then you're going to end up in a battle which will not be good for the city's reputation in terms of being welcoming to industry and commerce. Or the Markley Group's going to say, you know what, screw it. One way or another, we need to expand. Where is their land? I've been told by somebody in Drake that we'd love to have the Markley Group here. We would absolutely love it. Drake, it's a little bit more rural. I'm sure there'll be some homeowners in the area who might be upset, but would Drake take the Markley Group? Oh, bleep, yeah. Would Chelmsford? Maybe. Not in Chelmsford Center, though. They want to stop the drive-thrus at the Chelmsford Mall. But I don't know. There's a number of towns that would, might be just as close. Tewksbury might not be that far away from where Markley's current site is. They might take it. They'll take the benefits of having it in their community, the tax revenue, even with their TIF, they're still paying a significant level of taxes because they've taken what was an abandoned site for a long time and made it a good site, a usable site, one that's going to generate significant tax revenue in future years, unless we chase them out. But this discussion is ultimately about progress and where the world is heading. And it's, as I've told you many times in the past, it's going to pit the environmental movement against the technology movement, AI. And personally, I think it's going to be a steamroll victory for technology, as it almost always is. You remember when the internet kind of came about and computers and whatnot, they steamroll everything that got in its way because it's the future. It's the way of the world. And you either move forward or you move backwards. And no such thing as standing still. If you're standing still, you're in essence moving backwards because your competitors are all moving forward. Fascinating discussion. Going to be a fun meeting next Tuesday night on the Lowell City Council floor. It's a subcommittee meeting, but I'll see how this discussion plays out. I know a lot of folks will watch as well. And ultimately, I'll be curious to see how that vote plays out. Will a majority of the city councilors, will 6 city councilors vote no on this expansion request by the Markley Group? I certainly hope not, but I've been wrong before. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in to today's Inside Lowell Daily Pulse. Remember, tomorrow we go live at 10 a.m. You don't have to watch it at 10 a.m. like all of our shows. You can watch them whenever on InsideLowell.com or our YouTube channel. But if you want to catch it live, if you want to participate, dial 978-PULSE-IN. That's 978-PULSE-IN. Oops, my camera isn't working there. There's the phone number, 978-785-7346. Keep that number handy. We'd love you to join in with the Pod Squad and the fabulous Lindsay. Thank you so much, everybody. Till next time, stay safe, stay cool, stay dry, and we'll see you on the other side.